The middle passage. Around age 40, we cross a sacred threshold. Most of us do it quietly in solitude because we were never taught how to navigate the identity shift that comes with our second adulthood. According to Jungian psychologist James Hollis, between the ages of 12 and 39, we experience our first adulthood. Second adulthood comes after age 40, where we move beyond the ego's reliance on external roles and acquisitions to a deeper, more authentic search for meaning, purpose, and wholeness. The soul's goal is growth, and its purpose in this life is to express itself fully, be all that it came here to be. So it's no wonder that we experience the psychological transition starting around midlife. You may have heard it be referred to as a midlife crisis. It's also no surprise that a significant amount of job changes, divorces, lifestyle changes, and moves happen around this time. We've called it a midlife crisis, but really what it is an awakening. A natural desire to come home to oneself, to understand who we are and why we're here. The biggest problem with navigating second adulthood is that society has no structures or support to help us grow into second adulthood the way it's designed to help us grow through our first adulthood. In first adulthood, we have structure, community, milestones, and celebrations designed to guide us. We celebrate everything from the first day of kindergarten to elementary school graduation, middle school graduation, high school graduation. Then we go on to college and that's celebrated, and we find our jobs, and we celebrate falling in love and getting married, and we celebrate having babies, we celebrate new jobs and promotions. And then one day we start celebrating our kids' lives and our friends' kids' lives. We celebrate their first day of school, graduations, their falling in love and becoming parents. And during this time, I think we forget to celebrate ourselves. But then we celebrate our retirement. And then we die and there's a funeral, and that's a celebration of our lives. But the gap between celebrations of our own life is a clear indicator of what we collectively have deemed is a meaningful life and what is worthy of being celebrated. The silent message there is this. Between having kids and retiring, your life is not yours. It belongs to your family and to children and to the roles that you are not allowed to outgrow or dislike being in. And should you express a need for change during this time, we'll just label it a midlife crisis so others can understand what you're going through. However, there's nothing really to be done about it. But something so much more profound is happening during this time if we make room for it. According to James Hollis, midlife is when we enter the middle passage, a time when our true essence starts to knock from behind the acquired persona. We begin to remove the costume we've put on for society, for our families, for our culture, all with the goal of fitting in, with the goal of following a template for success, happiness, and life that was created ages ago, one that we did not get to design, but were simply handed. When that true essence starts to knock, we go through the stages of grief. The grief of not knowing who we are. The grief of realizing we've been sold a story about success and happiness that isn't always true. The grief of having to let go of parts of ourselves that we worked so hard to build, but were never truly ours. The first stage is denial. In this stage, we might try harder to hold on to the acquired persona. We know something is off. We've done everything society told us to do, and yet there's still this emptiness. We have the job, the house, the car, the family, the partner, the social life, and yet we feel lost within it. So we might try a little harder, demand a little bit more so we can feel more successful. We'll say things like, I'll be happy if I can make sure my kids are successful. So we put more pressure on them to follow the template that was handed to us. I'll be happy if I make more money. So we ask for raises and promotions. I'll be happy if I have something to show for all this hard work I've done in life. So we beg for bigger titles at work. We take on roles within the community. We join boards. We become thought leaders on social media. I'll be happy if my partner was better, hotter, made more money, paid more attention to me, gave me more time. So then we demand it. Sometimes without kindness and without compassion, because we forget that our partners are also going through this. We do so much to keep the illusion intact that the decisions that we made were worth it. We remain in denial of the fact that the life we've built around us is keeping us trapped, and our authentic self is demanding expression in the world. And then when none of it works, well, then my kids aren't working hard enough, my workplace sucks, my manager's a jerk, my marriage is a mess. And that's when we move on to the next stage, anger. At this stage, we frantically start trying to change something, but not from a place of understanding, because we never get curious enough. We don't stop to ask, what is it that I'm actually going through? Instead, we try to change things out of desperation, anything that will make us happier. But really, we're just looking for an outlet for that anger. So then we go and have the affair, we get mad at our kids, we tell our partners they're not good enough, we get mad at our parents, we lash out at our coworkers, we talk shit about our bosses. Then after realizing we're just deeper in the hole, we move on to bargaining. We beg our kids to love us again. We ask for forgiveness from our partners. I'll be a better parent. I'll be a better spouse. We settle into the story that our fate is sealed at work, the system's messed up, and nothing can be done about it. Some of us stop trying to give so much to work so we can be better parents, better children, better partners, better friends. We choose roles to give less to so that we can give more of ourselves to other roles, the ones we've decided truly matter. We don't realize that none of these roles are the true expression of our authentic selves. Each and every one of those roles came with expectations that were determined by society and culture. And I think it's in this bargaining phase that some of us start to find our way to something bigger, something greater, something to save us or something for us to blame for our despair. And then we go through our spiritual awakenings. We look for signs. People looking for signs is always really interesting to me. I look for signs all the time. But I've noticed that when we ask for signs, even me, when I ask for signs, I want something like big and flashy. I want a neon arrow pointing me in the direction that I need to move in. We look for angel numbers and birds in the sky and butterflies, while we continue to ignore the cracks in the foundation of our lives, the gaping holes we walk around every day to play the roles that we play, the coldness and distance we've created in our relationships because we're too afraid to be vulnerable, the sadness in our children's eyes because they can't make sense of our moods, the loneliness and isolation that we feel, the despair with which we drag ourselves to work every day. These are the biggest signs, the ones that have become staples in some of our lives, the ones we look around to catch the angel numbers and the birds and the butterflies. And then we reach depression, the fourth of the 5 stages. Some of us make it out of this and some of us don't. This is where we tend to give up, to resign to the story that life is hard, it's a test, it's meant to make us miserable. We lose whatever faith we have left and tell ourselves that we are the victims of a ruthless game. And let's not forget that all of this is underscored by another reality many of us face during this season of life: aging parents. It's an experience that brings heartache, not only for them, but for us as well, sharpening our awareness of time, fragility, and the inevitability of our own mortality. And we find ourselves asking again and again, what have I done with my life? It's only when we reach acceptance, the final stage, that we realize the problem was never with our kids, our partners, our bosses, our jobs, our friends. The problem was that we spent our whole lives hiding who we truly are, and that silencing of our authentic selves led us to making decisions that were never aligned with our purpose in this life. So, what I would like is for more celebrating of the milestones of the middle passage, a celebration of every layer of the costume that you decide to take off, a celebration of every decision to let go of something that was not allowing you to live in your most authentic expression, a celebration of every part of you that you actively healed in order to see what is true beneath the trauma, beneath the pain. Celebrate losing jobs that were draining you. Celebrate making new friends after 30 who connected with a more authentic version of you. Celebrate the ending of a relationship or friendships where you didn't get to be your full self. Not out of spite, but out of gratitude. These relationships, these friends, these communities, these jobs, they carried us to this moment. And outgrowing them is a sign that we're growing. Celebrate falling in love again and experiencing a love that allows you to be whoever you truly are. What I would like is for us to stop going through the stages of grief and start intentionally building the second half of our lives. And for that, we need to start building structures and milestones that honor the middle passage. We don't need more communities that fuel our ambition and help us get fancy titles and network with other C-level executives. We need communities that hold us as we grow through this tumultuous time. Communities that show up when we are taking off the costume we've spent so long building and putting on. Communities that ask, is this who you really are? Not in a challenging way, but in a way that affirms, like, wow, that's really cool. Even if I don't understand it, that's cool. How can I support it? We need communities that show up and celebrate life changes that aren't just promotions and titles, but also divorces and resignations. We don't need more conferences where we take out a business card and connect on LinkedIn and walk away with new words to throw out in meetings so we seem like we're the smartest person in the room. We need gatherings where we get to connect with the hearts and minds and souls of our fellow humans. We don't need social media likes and follows and brand building. We need witnesses to us building a life of authenticity, because the middle passage is an identity shift, one that doesn't need to be navigated in solitude. It's an uncomfortable shift for the person experiencing it, but also the people who knew this person before they woke up to who they really are and decided to start expressing that. We need more support of this awakening. I know a few things about this middle passage because I've been going through it, and I've been watching people around me go through it, and we never talk about it. We're all dealing with a lot of this silently in isolation, pretending it's all okay, making sure no one sees the cracks in our armor, complaining about our jobs like it's normal, and our kids and our partners through jokes and eye rolls that say, well, you know kids, you know men, you know what it's like. We rarely pause and wonder, what am I going through? Who am I becoming? How did I get here? And where do I want to go next? What version of me is waiting to be born? For me, this has very much felt like an identity crisis. I've been slowly, carefully taking off the costume for a few years now, layer by layer. If you haven't started taking off that costume, the best way I can explain the feeling is, you know what it feels like to come home and take off a pair of jeans that you know you look really hot in, but man, are you glad to be able to breathe again? Yeah. That's what it feels like to finally be living a life that feels authentic. But I'm going to be honest, it's also been really, really hard. The hardest part has been trying to describe what is happening for me to people who knew me before I woke up and realized I was trying to live a life that I had outgrown. My only solace has been the wonderful people that have taken the time to ask how I'm doing, to ask if I need anything, no questions about why, no advice, just standing there watching and supporting. I'm so thankful for friends and family who have supported me as I find parts of myself to share with the world, through my work, through my writing, through this podcast. There have also been friends who have drifted away during this time and friends who I just don't connect very well with anymore, and that's okay. There have also been friends who have given me advice to not talk about certain things or not show up in certain ways because then I'm not taken seriously as an HR leader or an executive coach. If you have these people in your life and you're going through this, thank them. They mean well for you. Even if their comments sting a little, thank them for reminding you how nice it is to be able to breathe again. Recently, friends have been sending me screenshots of their Spotify Wrapped, showing my podcast in their top listens. It brings a smile to my face, not because people are listening, but because it's a reminder that I have people in my life who are excited to watch me become the person I want to be in the world. Going into 2026 and my 4th decade of life, I'm holding these people the closest, because I've still got some shedding to do. And I don't know what else I'll find that needs a home, a medium for expression, or an outlet. But I know where those parts of me will be welcomed and celebrated.